The farmer is surprised when he welcomes a smiling disabled child who changed his fate. Jack's mornings were always the same. The soft whistle of wind through the rolling hills, the rustle of leaves whispering secrets he couldn't quite catch, and the steady thud of hooves against earth as his worn boots hit the porch steps. Alone on his farm, tucked far from town, Jack's world breathed quiet, steady rhythms. Planting, watering, feeding, fixing. But that morning, something shattered the silence. He was sipping his black coffee, eyes half closed against the pale dawn, when a flicker by the edge of his property caught his gaze. A small, broken shape chained to a heavy rock sat under the shade of an old oak. A girl! She looked maybe 10 or 11, pale and smeared with dust, hair tangled like wild vines. But it was her smile that shook him, soft, gentle. A smile that didn't belong to someone bound by cold chains and heavy stones. Jack's heart slammed, hands trembling. The world around him seemed to hold its breath. The trees whispered louder. The hills seemed to press closer. This couldn't be real. She looked up, eyes shining with a fire that defied the rusted chain. Her leg was twisted oddly beneath her. A wheelchair lay abandoned nearby, cracked and broken. "Please," she said, voice quiet but steady. "They say they protect me, but I'm trapped." Jack's brow furrowed. Who would do this? Who could lock a child to a rock at the edge of the world? And Jack felt a lump catch in his throat, the weight of her pain crowding the space inside his chest. Old neighbors would have turned away, murmurs like poison dripping through cracked fences. "Mind your own business," they'd say, faces tight with judgment and fear. Family matters should stay family matters. But Jack couldn't look away. Not from that smile, not from those haunted eyes. Something fierce stirred inside him, a reckless hope burning alongside his fear. He bent down, fingers brushing warm dirt. "I'm taking you somewhere safe," he said. But even as the words left his mouth, he knew the danger was far from over. The wind shifted, carrying whispers of doubt and menace, as if the land itself warned him. How far would her family go to keep her silent? What monsters lurked behind their closed doors? Jack's hands trembled harder now, not from cold, but from the storm he'd just stepped into. The quiet life he'd built was cracking, and with it, the fragile peace of this forgotten place. Two figures, alone beside a chain and a rock, but bound now by something fiercer than iron. The fight was just beginning. Hey, before we continue with this incredible story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without notice. Just give that red button down below a quick check to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content coming your way. And while you're at it, leave a powerful like that helps me a lot with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. Jack's hands shook as he knelt beside the girl. He could feel the pulse of the earth beneath him, but all he could think about was the chain. "I'll get you out of here," he promised as he moved to unlock the rusted clasp. But then a sound shattered the moment. A sharp crack echoed through the morning air. Jack froze, heart racing. We looked up to see figures emerging from the tree line, dark silhouettes against the dawning light. They moved with purpose, anger etched into their faces. "Leave her alone!" shouted a man with wild eyes who was charging toward them. Behind him, a woman followed, red-faced, fists clenched tight. Fear wrapped around Jack like a cold hand. He stood, the weight of uncertainty settling in his gut. "I'm just helping her," he called out. The girl looked terrified, pressing back against the rock. "Jack, please!" Her voice trembled. But before he could respond, the man lunged at him, grabbing Jack by the collar. "You have no idea what you're doing. This is for her own good." Jack's heart raced. What good was there in this? He caught sight of the woman, her face twisted with fury. "You think you can just steal her?" she spat, eyes narrowed. "You don't know anything about our family." "Family?" Jack's voice cracked. "You're treating her like a prisoner. This isn't love." Then the ground rumbled beneath them. Jack's anxiety twisted into something deeper as the girl's eyes widened in fear. Fear that turned to horror as she suddenly screamed, "No, don't!" All happened like a blur. From behind the trees, a dark shape burst forth. A massive beast. Its eyes gleaming with malice. A dog. Not just any dog, but a huge, powerful creature, barking with raw intensity and charging straight toward them. "Get back!" Jack yelled, losing his footing as he instinctively stepped back. But instead of lunging at Jack, the dog stopped short, growling at the man who held Jack. In that moment, everything twisted again. The man dropped Jack, stumbling back. "What have you done?" The man shrieked, eyes locked on the girl. "What have you turned her into?" Jack glanced at the girl, who now wore an expression of shock mixed with a strange kind of relief. Her smile flickered like a candle in the wind. "I didn't want them to hurt you, Jack. This is the only way," she whispered. Everything Jack thought he knew turned upside down in that instant. The chains, the wheelchair, the family that seemed so cruel. It felt as if the ground itself split open beneath him. "Only way!" Jack repeated, voice shaking. "What are you saying?" But before she could answer, the woman screamed, "Run! We can't let them take her!" Jack's mind raced. A truth was unraveling, twisting like smoke in the air. The family wasn't just scared for her. They were terrified of what she could unleash. Jack backed up, heart pounding as the girl glanced between him and her family, torn between a life trapped and a life where chains shattered. The dog began to bark again, a loud, commanding sound that shook the trees. "If you care for her, you have to let her go!" Jack cried, desperation clawing at him. The girl stepped forward, tears sparkling in her eyes. "You don't understand, Jack. I was never the weak one. They are afraid of me." Suddenly, the world felt like it was tilting. The sun rose higher, painting everything in gold. Yet shadows began to creep in. What was she capable of? And as the fight for her freedom loomed ahead, Jack realized just how far he was willing to go. But now, the rules seemed forever changed. The storm was only just beginning. Jack felt the tension in the air like electricity. The growling dog stood firm, the girl's fierce light flickering, and everyone held their breath. He could see the family's rage boiling as they struggled to regain control. "What have you done?" the man shouted, his eyes wild, fixated on the girl. "They just want to protect you," she pleaded, glancing between Jack and her family, fear radiating from her small frame. "You don't know what they—" Before she could finish, the dog lunged forward, teeth bared, barking furiously. Jack flinched. The scene spiraled into chaos, moments tightening around them like a noose. The man stumbled backward, hands raised as if to shield himself from the onslaught. But the dog stopped just short, as if surprised by its own ferocity. Then, everything changed. The ground beneath them shook violently. A deep rumble echoed like the roar of a storm. Jack stumbled, trying to regain his balance, heart racing. The girl's eyes widened. A mixture of fear and something else. "Power?" "Oh no," she whispered, panic pulsing in her throat. Suddenly, the very earth cracked open, a fissure tearing through the grass. Jack staggered back, the dog growling even louder. The family shrieked, their cries swallowed by the deep reverberation of the earth. Jack's breath caught as the ground split wider, dirt and roots flying as bits of soil rained down around them. Then it happened. From the crack, a dark figure clawed its way out. At first, it looked like a shadow, stretching and twisting, but then it solidified into something terrifying. A woman, cloaked in shadows, emerged with an eerie grace, a face that twisted between despair and fury. "Stop!" she cried, voice like thunder. "You don't understand what you've unleashed." Jack's stomach dropped. The girl recoiled, her body visibly shaking. "Mum," she gasped, eyes wide with disbelief. How are you here?" "Run!" the woman shouted at the family, fury in her eyes, but a deep sorrow trailed behind her words. "You don't own her, you never did." Jack watched everything unfold, his pulse drumming in his ears. The family backed away, terror-stricken, the anger on their faces replaced by shock. The roasting sun suddenly dimmed as the shadows closed in. The world felt like it was holding its breath. What is happening? Jack found himself whispering, unable to comprehend. This wasn't how he imagined the morning would unfold. A child trapped, a family threatening, and now this dark figure emerging from the earth. "She's more than you think," the woman continued, gaze locked on the girl. Anguish twisted her features. "They've kept you from the truth. You are not a prisoner. You are the key." The girl hesitated, the storm of emotions crashing inside her like waves. "I don't want to be a weapon. I just want to be free." Jack felt his heart race even faster, a lump forming painfully in his throat. The family's argument about protecting her suddenly felt valid, yet twisted. How much had they hidden? What was she really capable of? As silence fell, juxtaposed against the chaos inside Jack's mind, Jack looked at the girl, desperation coursing through him. "You don't have to choose between them and me." The woman stepped closer, shadows swirling around her. "You can break the chains, sweet girl. You can be free of all of this, but only if you choose to embrace who you really are." In that moment, Jack realized everything he thought he knew was built on sand. The girl's smile flickered, reflecting uncertainty mingled with hope. But deep down, a deeper question echoed. What was the cost of freedom? And were some chains meant to be broken, while others were unbreakable? A chill fills the air as they stood there, the future unreeling ahead of them like an uncharted path. The fragile balance of love and fear hung, waiting to tip. And with that, Jack recognized the storm had really only just begun. Jack felt the tension in the air like a tightrope stretched. He absorbed the scene, unsure how a strange woman could materialize like this. What was her connection? Who was she? The girl stared, wide-eyed at the woman. "Mum?" she gasped. "How are you here?" Before the woman could respond, the ground shuddered again. Jack instinctively took a step back. The dog remained fixed, growling, sensing the raw tension draping the meadow. "Do you all see this?" the woman shouted, her voice echoing with power. "She belongs to no one. You think you keep her safe, but fear has only kept her chained." The family recoiled, shock mingling with horror. Jack could see their faces drain of color. "She's a danger," the man spat, anger bubbling anew. "You don't understand. She is your daughter." The woman's voice rang out, slicing through the tension like a knife. "You abandoned her when you let fear dictate your love." The earth beneath them trembled again, and a creeping unease washed over Jack. The girl's expression shifted from fear to something profound. Her eyes brimmed with tears, as if the truth was blooming, shattering the chains of misunderstanding. "What do you mean?" she whispered. "You left me." "Left you?" the woman said, voice breaking. "I was trapped. They took me away. I couldn't protect you. But now, you're so much more." An explosive crack split the air. Jack jumped, heart racing. He looked to the family. A woman in the background clutched her head, moaning. "It should have been us," she cried. "We were supposed to keep her safe." In that instant, revelations bled into the air. But the truth spun so fast, Jack felt dizzy. "Safe!" he shouted. "This isn't safety! It's madness!" The shadows danced, and without warning, the girl gasped, her voice soaring. "I am not afraid!" Suddenly, she stepped toward the woman, confidence radiating from her tiny body. Then the world cracked open. The ground vibrated, fissures spiraling outward in ripples, each crack undermining Jack's sense of reality. He watched in horror as a figure dropped from the heavens, spiraling down like a comet. The light of the sun dimmed, then burst into blinding brilliance. The shadow that emerged was towering, monstrous, a creature woven of nightmares. Jack's breath caught. It was no mere beast. It was a manifestation of the girl's darkest fears and powers. And now, uncontained, it howled like a banshee. shaking the very earth they stood on. The girl's eyes widened, panic washing over her face as she realized what she had unleashed. "No! Stay back!" she cried, but the creature charged forward, a thunderous roar echoing through the valley. "No!" Jack shouted, scrambling backward as the creature descended upon the family, who stood frozen in terror, their previous anger melting away into sheer horror. Instead of stopping, the beast turned, eyes glaring towards Jack, its breath hot against his skin. Was it seeking him? Did it recognize the bonds they shared? In that shocking moment, Jack understood everything had flipped. Betrayals danced through the air. Truths clawed their way to the light, devouring the lies they had lived. The family's love was founded on chains. And in this chaos, Jack was entangled in a web of elements he couldn't grasp. His heart thundered as the beast roared again, and a spine-chilling thought pierced through Jack's mind. Was the girl truly the threat, or was the true danger yet to reveal itself? As darkness swirled around them, Jack realized with a start they were all trapped in a story far more complex than any of them had understood. And this was just the beginning. The beast roared again, shaking the very ground beneath them. Shadows tangled in the chaos, the girl's wide eyes darting back and forth between the woman from the ground and the creature that threatened her family. Jack's heart hammered loudly, its beat echoing in his ears as he tried to process the "bwee" he shouted, instinct pulling him to shield the girl, who seemed so small against the monstrous figure before them. But instead of running, she stepped forward, her expression shifting from terror to a fierce determination. "Stop!" she cried, voice strong and clear. "You can't control me anymore." The ground quaked, fissures spreading as if the earth itself agreed with her newfound strength. The ominous creature stood towering, a creature born from twisted fears. But now it hesitated, caught between allegiance and rebellion. Jack watched in disbelief. "What are you doing?" he shouted, fear creeping into his voice. "You can't face this alone." "I have to," the girl replied, a spark igniting in her soulful eyes. "It's time to break this cycle." But then everything twisted again. A sudden flash of light erupted from the girl's hands. The beast froze, its roar caught in its throat, as if it recognized something deeper. Jack shielded his eyes from the blinding brilliance, but through the haze he could see the shadows swirling around the girl, intertwining with her light, forming a strange, radiant armor. The family! Their expressions locked between horror and awe. Took a hesitant step back. "Do you see?" the girl yelled, voice vibrating with power. "I am not a prisoner. I am the one who was meant to protect." Jack's breath hitched. A revelation broke through the haze. Protect? What if all the stories were wrong? But then a sound broke through the chaos. A haunting whisper amidst the overwhelm. No, it can't be. He turned, eyes widening as he caught sight of the woman who had emerged from the ground. Her face twisted, a mix of despair and fury, and suddenly Jack froze. A familiarity washed over him. The way she moved, the way she held herself. It was a reflection, but of what? In a heartbeat, time seemed to slow. You're connected to her. The woman's gaze darted to him, and all the air felt like it vanished. Yes, Jack, I am her mother. But I am also the reason she is labelled a danger. The community gasped, eyes wide. The family recoiled, whispers morphing into disbelief. "No, you lie," the man shouted, backing away. "You abandoned her." "Abandoned?" The woman's voice cracked, filled with a piercing sorrow. "I was taken for the truth of her power." Suddenly, Jack felt the weight of betrayal crashing down on him. "Taken?" he echoed, struggling to grasp what he was hearing. "Yes," the woman said, eyes burning with intensity. "The darkness isn't in her, it's in what they've done to us. My family too. We were all cast aside for fearing what we could not understand." Just then, the girl raised her hands, radiant light enveloping her. "You don't have to fear me," she declared, eyes piercing through the confusion. "I can finally choose." As the words echoed across the land, the beast shuddered, a connection snapping, a world of pain collapsing on itself. Then, as if in response to her declaration, a thunderous crack split the air, sealing their fates. Jack could only watch in disbelief and horror, everything he thought he knew tearing apart at the seams. The girl's face twisted with determination, yet a shadow of doubt loomed. What had they unleashed? And as the dust settled amidst the chaos, uncertainty loomed larger than ever. The storm inside him mirrored the one brewing above, a haunting question echoing. Had they just birthed something they couldn't control? The beast roared again, shaking the ground beneath them. Shadows tangled in the chaos, the girl's fierce light flickering, and everyone held their breath. Fear clawed at Jack's gut, an icy chill creeping up his spine. The family was paralyzed, their earlier anger now replaced by sheer terror. Wide eyes darting between the girl and the woman who had. The girl shouted over the din, her voice a stark contrast to the chaos. "I am not a threat! I'm the answer!" Jack's heart raced. The air crackled with energy, a palpable tension slithering through the atmosphere. Everything felt like it was teetering on the edge. But then, as if summoned by her words, the creature hesitated, its massive form quaking. A rift opened wide in Jack's chest, hope battling with fear. "You can do this," he called out, the urgency bleeding through his voice. "You need to fight." The girl stepped forward, glowing with determination. "I won't let them keep me prisoner." But just as she opened her mouth to finish, a loud crack echoed through the field, drowning her out. Jack's stomach dropped as the ground buckled, sending tremors through their feet. Everyone stumbled back, eyes wide with fear, hearts pounding in sync. Then everything changed. From the center of the fissure, a blinding light erupted, sending shockwaves across the meadow. It swallowed up the beast, the glowing form of the girl, and even the frightened onlookers. Jack shielded his eyes, stumbling backward. The world around him dissolved into a kaleidoscope of color and sound. When the light receded, Jack blinked hard, trying to adjust. What he saw froze his blood. The girl stood at the center, but she was different. Her features shifting, morphing, until she was no longer the small, scared child. She towered in ethereal beauty, radiant and terrifying. All at once, the shadows coiled around her like a dark crown. This was a being of pure energy, a force that shone with a light so bright it hurt to look at. "Mum," she said, her voice now echoing with a depth that resonated through Jack's bones. The once gentle child had transformed into something formidable and ancient. A power that seemed to grasp at the very fabric of reality. The woman from the earth took a step forward, her eyes widening in disbelief. No, no, this can't be! Panic washed over her face, a mix of terror and wonder. What have they done to you? Jack staggered back, everything he thought he understood, splintering like glass. The girl, now a goddess-like figure, called to the creature, "You don't have to be afraid of them anymore. We can be free." The family gasped, fear and realization washing over them. The man, it stumbled back, eyes darting wildly. "What have you? What is she?" he gasped, clenching his fists as he realized their control had crumbled. Jack's heart raced. "Wait! You don't understand! This isn't what we thought!" But the ground shook once more, and in that moment he felt a violent pull, like gravity shifting as the shadows beckoned him closer to the girl, or whatever she had become. The beast howled, cowering now, and for the first time Jack saw the truth. The power surged from her, not just to protect, but to consume. He felt it in his bones, the darkness, the power, the shadow of something terrifying. Had they awakened a force they could not control? And through it all, a single realization crashed over him like a tidal wave. Everything he believed was a lie. The girl wasn't a victim, she was a warrior. All this time, she'd been part of a hidden legacy, an ancestral power that was tied to their very existence. As the shimmering light surrounded her, Jack's heart pounded in his chest. The unshakable foundation of their lives had shattered. Who was she really? And what fate loomed ahead as the truth spiraled into chaos? The shadows danced wildly, the air thick with uncertainty. In that moment, everything hung in the balance, leaving Jack with one haunting question. Had they just unleashed something that could consume them all? The beast roared once more, its ferocity shaking Jack to his core. The radiant girl stood at the center, glowing with a power that felt ancient. Confusion spun around them, heavy and tight. Jack's heart raced as he tried to process the scene, everything shifting. Every truth he used to hold dear, now crumbling in his mind. It all hung in the air, a tense silence filled with potential. The girl, she was not a prisoner. She was powerful. She stood tall and defiant, shadows swirling at her feet, a being created from a legacy of power. Jack felt a strange pull from her, like gravity. But then, just as quickly, everything changed again. A sudden noise shattered the moment. A loud thud, echoing like thunder. And Jack barely had time to turn before another figure emerged from the shadows behind the girl. It was a man, tall and cloaked in dark robes, stepping into the light. His face was familiar, but grotesquely altered, twisted with malice. Jack's breath caught in his throat as realization crashed down on him. "No," he murmured, horror creeping up his spine. "It can't be. You were one of them. The man's lips curled into a grin that held no warmth. "Ah, Jack, it's lovely to see you awake," he said. The chilling tone sent shivers through the air. "Thinking you've come to save the day?" "Oh, adorable." "Who are you?" Jack's voice trembled. "What do you want?" "Aren't you a clever lad?" the man mocked. "I've merely come to see what all the fuss is about. You see, I'm here for her, to reclaim what was lost." He pointed toward the girl, whose radiance flickered, uncertainty creeping into her expression. The ground beneath them shuddered violently again, making everyone gasp. The man raised a hand, and Jack felt a wave of energy sweep over the field. Shadows thickened, swirling with a life of their own, as screams and whispers flooded Jack's ears. "Your precious girl is not what you think," he continued, voice dripping with a sickly sweetness. "She isn't just powerful. She is a conduit to something greater, something that will allow us to unleash a darkness that will reshape the world." "What do you mean?" Jack felt dizzy, the weight of fear crushing him. The girl flinched back, shadows coiling tighter at her feet. "No, I won't let you control me." Her voice broke through the chaos, electrifying the air. "Ah, but you have no choice." The cloaked figure laughed, a harsh sound like grinding stones. "You were meant to be sacrificed for this very purpose. A dark festivity to awaken the shadows." Jack felt his world tilt. "Sacrificed?" The truth slammed home, puncturing through the illusions. The family had kept her safe, but not from what was outside, from the very essence of who she was. The girl's cheeks flushed with disbelief and anger, eyes blazing, but insecurities crept in like shadows. "Stand with me, daughter," the man urged, extending a hand. "Embrace what you are meant to be. Together we can break the chains of this pathetic existence." "No!" she shouted, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I won't become what you want." Conflicting emotions raged within the space. Jack's heart raced. He had always thought the threat was external, assigned to the outsiders. But now they were enmeshed in something deeper, something that held her very existence at its core. Then the woman from the earth screamed, "You can break free. You have to remember." Her words pierced through the tension, igniting a flicker of hope that blazed brightly against the encroaching darkness. Jack watched the girl's struggle in real time, fighting the battle for her soul. "Please!" Jack yelled, desperation edging into his voice. "Choose who you want to be, not what he says." As the shadows surged, she hesitated, caught between two worlds. One filled with a glowing power and the other shrouded in darkness. And in that moment, the fate of everyone hung in the balance. The man's smile grew broader, a predator watching his prey. Suddenly, in a shocking turn of events, the girl clenched her fists. Her eyes closed tightly, and for a heartbeat, silent. Then, with a roar, she released a blinding wave of energy that sent shockwaves across the land, the shadows screaming as they ripped apart. But as light enveloped the place, a tear opened in the sky, and Jack felt the frigid cold seep in, the threat of something more profound and terrifying than he'd ever imagined. The dark figure stumbled back, eyes wide with fear. Then it struck him. This was no fight between good and evil. This was a battle for clarity and chaos. A struggle to break the cycle of darkness. But now, as light collided with shadow, Jack understood that the cost of freedom could be far greater than he dared to fathom. And the true voice of the girl wasn't just one of defiance, but a harbinger of destruction yet to come. In all the chaos, one single thought echoed louder than all else. Were they destined to fall, shackled by legacies no one truly understood? As the world spun around them, Jack knew. The battle was just beginning. The beast roared once more. It all hung in the air, a tense silence filled with potential. The girl, she was not a prisoner. She was powerful. She stood tall and defiant, shadows swirling at her feet, a being created from a legacy of power. Jack felt a strange pull from her, like gravity. But then, just as quickly, everything changed again. A sudden noise shattered the moment. A loud thud, echoing like thunder. And Jack barely had time to turn before another figure emerged from the shadows behind the girl. It was a man, tall and cloaked in dark robes, stepping into the light. His face was familiar, but grotesquely altered, twisted with malice. Jack's breath caught in his throat as realization crashed down on him. "No," he murmured, horror creeping up his spine. "It can't be! You were one of them!" The man's lips curled into a grin that held no warmth. "Ah, Jack! It's lovely to see you awake," he said. The chilling tone sent shivers through the air. "Thinking you've come to save the day? How adorable!" "Who are you?" Jack's voice trembled. "What do you want?" "Aren't you a clever lad?" the man mocked. "I've merely come to see what all the fuss is about. You see, I'm here for her to reclaim what was lost." He pointed toward the girl, whose radiance flickered, uncertainty creeping into her expression. The ground beneath them shuddered violently again, making everyone gasp. The man raised a hand, and Jack felt a wave of energy sweep over the field. The shadows thickened, swirling with a life of their own, as screams and whispers flooded Jack's ears. "Your precious girl is not what you think," he continued, voice dripping with a sickly sweetness. "She isn't just powerful. She is a conduit to something greater. Something that will allow us to unleash a darkness that will reshape the world." "What do you mean?" Jack felt dizzy, the weight of fear crushing him. The girl flinched back, shadows coiling tighter at her feet. "No, I won't let you control me!" Her voice broke through the chaos, electrifying the air. "Ah, but you have no choice." The cloaked figure laughed, a harsh sound like grinding stones. "You are meant to be sacrificed for this very purpose. A dark festivity to awaken the shadows." Jack felt his world tilt. Sacrificed? The truth slammed home, puncturing through the illusions. The family had kept her safe, but not from what was outside, from the very essence of who she was. The girl's cheeks flushed with disbelief and anger, eyes blazing, but insecurities crept in like shadows. "Stand with me, daughter," the man urged, extending a hand. Embrace what you are meant to be. Together, we can break the chains of this pathetic existence. No! She shouted, tears streaming down her cheeks. I won't become what you want. Conflicting emotions raged within the space. Jack's heart raced. He had always thought the threat was external, assigned to the outsiders. But now they were enmeshed in something deeper. Something that held her very existence at its core. Then the woman from the earth screamed, "You can break free! You have to remember!" Her words pierced through the tension, igniting a flicker of hope that blazed brightly against the encroaching darkness. Jack watched the girl struggle in real time, fighting the battle for her soul. "Please!" Jack yelled, desperation edging into his voice. "Choose who you want to be, not what he says." As the shadows surged, she hesitated, caught between two worlds, one filled with a glowing power and the other shrouded in darkness. And in that moment, the fate of everyone hung in the balance. The man's smile grew broader, a predator watching his prey. Suddenly, in a shocking turn of events, the ground beneath them cracked open violently. A massive fissure spiraled through the earth, revealing a cascade of flickering shadows. From the depths emerged another figure, a woman with wild flowing hair, her face a mirror of the girl's. "You're not alone," she cried, her voice fierce enough to crumble walls. "Who are you?" Jack gasped, eyes wide. "This is my daughter!" "But I am not who you think." The woman stepped into the light, and all the air rushed from Jack's lungs. The resemblance was uncanny, but what struck him most was the connection he felt, a tugging inside his chest. "What?" he whispered, vibrating with disbelief. "What are you saying?" "Your history is steeped in lies, Jack," the woman shouted, eyes ablaze. "We were never meant to be separated. Our destinies intertwined. The beast she is connected to belongs to both of us." The room plunged into silence, Jack's heart racing as the pieces fell into place. The girl's glowing form flickered as she swayed uncertainly. You're my other mother?" she stammered, eyes wide and questioning. "Yes!" the woman exclaimed, emotion pouring through her. "The binding was done to protect you from the truth, to keep us both from awakening what we are." Jack felt the ground shift beneath him as fog rolled in, distorting his reality. Every truth he thought he'd uncovered suddenly unraveled into confusion. "This can't be happening! What have you hidden all these years?" "Everything they told you has been a lie." The words burned in the air, choking the space tight. "And now, it's time to break free from it all." As the truth swirled around them, Jack realized nothing would ever be the same again. The beast roared. The tremors grew stronger, and a profound realization loomed over them. Freedom came at a cost, and the revelation that each bond had been built upon a foundation of fear shattered everything. The world felt like it tilted on its axis. The future, shrouded in uncertainty, hung before them like a dark cloud, pregnant with untold consequences. And as Jack struggled to catch his breath, one damning question surfaced. What would they uncover next? Ha 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 ha! And was it truly worth the cost of freedom? The beast's roar echoed in Jack's ears, drowning out the chaos as the shadows shifted. The girl's mother stood, pleading, her eyes wide with urgency. But Jack couldn't shake the feeling that something was about to break. Something larger than their fears, larger than them all. Then it happened. A terrifying sound ripped through the air. A crack that shook the ground even harder than before. Jack stumbled, barely locking eyes with the girl before a blinding light erupted around. And just when Jack thought it was disappearing, the light exploded, throwing everyone back as a figure erupted from the center. It was another girl, identical to the first. The face, the expression, even the way her hair caught the wind was the same, but there was something darker in her gaze, something deeply unsettling. "What in the world?" Jack exclaimed, grasping for words. The girl he thought he knew froze, mouth agape, as if the shock cracked through the very core of her being. "Another one?" the cloaked figure sneered, mocking laughter bubbling in his throat. "Did you think she was alone?" "Who are you?" Jack shouted, stepping toward the new girl. Confusion wrapped around him like a storm. Each heartbeat a reminder of the rapidly escalating chaos. "I am the true form of what you've awakened," the new girl proclaimed. Her voice a chilling echo of the girl he thought he understood. "I am the shadow that has always existed alongside the light." Jack glanced at the original girl, whose features twisted in horror. "No, you aren't! I won't become what you are!" But the new girl laughed, a sound that sent a shiver down Jack's spine. "Oh, sweet sister, you already are. You just refuse to face it. We are two halves of the same whole." The beast snarled, caught in the crossfire of unraveling destinies. Jack felt the air thicken with tension, a confusion so deep it pushed against his chest. The shadows stretched, twisting around both girls, connecting them in a web of grey and black. "No!" the girl shouted, fists clenched, desperation coating her voice. "I don't believe you. I won't let you take over." But as she stepped back, he could see her eyes shimmering, flickers of fear mixing with uncertainty. "Believe it!" the new girl shouted back, her true nature spilling out. Raw, powerful. "You have always been more than light. Embrace the darkness within you, and you'll be unstoppable." Jack staggered back, grappling to comprehend everything unraveling before his eyes. The very foundation of what he thought he knew about the girl was crumbling. "No!" he shouted, heart racing. "You can't believe her! She's lying!" But the original girl hesitated, glancing between the radiant light of her empowered self and the chilling reflection of who she could become. Then came a sudden blast of energy from the cloaked man. Shadows seized the moment, coiling around them like snakes. "You're right! Darkness is the key! And now you both hold the power to unlock it!" As the air vibrated with energy, Jack realized he couldn't stand by anymore. "No! We won't let you tear this apart!" he yelled, feeling urgency flood through him. But as the shadows pulsed and flickered, everything went still. The ground beneath them shifted, cracks ripping wide open, consuming everything, as if the earth itself was pulling back in horror at the betrayal. In that moment, a revelation exploded in Jack's mind. A devastating question searing through his consciousness. What if the true danger had always been the light? An understanding washed over him. The girls weren't just beings at odds. They were bound in a destiny that transcended their lives and twisted fate itself. Then, as Jack's heart thundered in his chest, he realized the ultimate truth lurking in the shadows. One of them was meant to destroy, while the other was meant to save. The line between hero and villain blurred completely. "Make your choice!" the new girl howled, the shadows responding to her command, stretching and curling like hungry serpents, with everything teetering on. In that moment of stillness, Jack grasped the weight of their unfolding destiny, the terrifying potential to either save the world or doom it. And they had to make that choice now. The rift in the earth roared wide, shadows twisting as the two girls faced each other. From the chaos erupted roaring winds, a cacophony that shattered Jack's thoughts, leaving him spinning between fear and the urgent need to act. "Choose!" the dark girl bellowed, shadows swirling around her like a storm. "You're the light, but I embrace the darkness. You're my other half. Together we could alter the very fabric of reality." "No, I refuse to let your darkness define me," the radiant girl shouted back, fists clenched, stepping forward defiantly, but trembling with uncertainty. Jack felt the power of their connection, dangling like a thread in the air. The cloaked figure stood behind, eyes gleaming with malevolence, relishing the chaos. "This is the moment of your awakening," he hissed, the shadows around him crackling with energy. In a heartbeat, the ground trembled, threatening to swallow them whole. Jack's heart raced as he thought of the girl he had come to care for, standing at the threshold of light and shadow. "You can't let him dictate your fate," Jack yelled over the roiling winds. "You have a choice!" She turned to him, eyes filled with confusion and fear, her silhouette shimmering between shadows and light. "But what if I am meant to wield this power?" he whispered. "What if darkness is my destiny?" "No!" Jack countered, desperation electrifying his voice. "Your destiny is to be free. You can create your own future." And then an explosion of energy erupted from her, illuminating the shadows. The original girl radiated light so brilliant that Jack had to shield his eyes. The darkness danced but hesitated, pulling away as she asserted her true self. "I am more than this, more than light, more than just shadows. Join me!" the dark girl screamed, a final plea. "We could be unstoppable together." In that moment, everything hung in the air. Hope, fear, and resignation. Jack felt the pressure uncoiling, knowing it was her choice that would matter. She hesitated for only a heartbeat, then took a step back, toward the light. "I can't!" she declared fiercely, defiance igniting within her. "I refuse to become a pawn to either of you." There was a collective gasp. The cloaked figure's mouth twisted in outrage, as if the very essence of his plan had crumbled. "Foolish child!" He raised his hands, shadows swirling in a rage. But before he could strike, the girl's fierce light flared even brighter, engulfing the shadows, illuminating the battlefield. The beast roared, and for a moment, everything felt suspended. She raised her hands high above her head, channeling all her strength. Light and shadow spiraled together, weaving a tapestry of dazzling brilliance. The cloaked man screeched, the shadows recoiling in agony. "No! This can't be happening!" With that, Jack felt the world shift again. The ground beneath them erupted, and a shock wave hurling them backward. The darkness dissipated, swallowed by light. When the dust settled, silence enveloped the meadow. The girl stood there, shimmering but exhausted, the shadows now retreating into the depths. Jack rushed to her side, heart pounding. "You did it! You chose freedom!" Tears glimmered in her eyes, the weight of the world lifting off her shoulders. But she looked up, uncertainty still residing there. "But what now?" she asked softly. Jack took a breath, the sunlight filtering down, bathing them in warmth. "Now we rebuild. Together. We face whatever comes next." Across the field, the twisted remnants of their past loomed. Family members, slowly coming out of their shock, glancing from the girl to the woman who had emerged from the earth. The threads binding them all together had shifted, changing the fabric of their lives. "We must let go of our chains," the girl spoke, her voice more assured now. "It's time to embrace the truth and the light we hold. Together." Jack nodded, a smile breaking through his worry. A new dawn was upon them. As the sun rose high above, illuminating everything in a golden hue, a buzz of hope filled the air. Jack looked at the girl, realizing their journey was far from over. But it was the beginning of something beautiful. Hey, before you go, I need to drop a quick reminder. This is the moment to subscribe to the channel. Don't miss out on the exclusive stories coming your way. Hit that red button now, and while you're at it, smash that like button. It helps me so much with the algorithm. I want to hear from you, so flood the comments with your reactions and theories about this wild finale. And please, share this video with at least 5 friends who need to know this epic conclusion. Your support means everything. Don't wait another second. Let's keep this community thriving.